Okay, so rough day with Mom yesterday, but not because of her health. Let me explain. I'm going to date myself here, but in 1967, it was a very hot spring. And this one day in particular is right around this time of year. It was very, very hot. And so one of the neighbors that my mother played cards with invited us over, all the kids that were in the card club and the moms to come over and swim in her pool. And it was an indoor pool, but she had a big glass door that opened up onto a patio. So all the kids were inside swimming, me included, and the moms were on the porch underneath an umbrella, drinking cocktails. So all of a sudden, this huge cloud, it was hot and it was windy all day, like yesterday. And all of a sudden, this storm this cloud it just gets really dark. And the shelf cloud, which I know now to be a shelf cloud, just comes out of nowhere, right? And so it looked really, really bad. So all the moms, excuse me, hold on a minute. So, knowing that it looked ominous, all the moms started yelling, "Get out of the pool, get out of the pool, we gotta go, we gotta go." And so, we all jumped in the car. Of course, we had to drive around the corner, and thank God we did that day. We jumped in the car with the towels wrapped around us, and my mother lead-footed her ass in the Buick with the big wings, and I jumped out of the car in the driveway, and as I opened up the garage, the sky turned the air turned like this pea green color. It was a very weird yellow green color, and there was no air. It was hard to breathe. And so my mother's like, hurry up. So I open up the door, and as my mom's pulling the car in the garage, you could hear it. You could hear the tornado coming. And I stepped out of the garage like a dummy, and I look up, and you see this big, huge rotation. And you could see the tornado on the ground like a couple blocks over. And I said, "What's that?" And my mom said, "Oh my God." And she grabbed me and threw me in the garage. And as we were trying, all of us, me, my sister, and my mother, trying to pull, this was before, motorized garage door openers. We were trying to pull down the garage. The pressure of the tornado was pulling the garage door up. We managed to get the garage door down, and through the window, we could see the thing coming. And then it bounced up. So if you ever have those cups, have you ever seen those cups that unfold as you open them, and then you press it down and it folds and you screw? That's what it looked like. It went up in pieces, and then it was swirling, and it went past us to the north, we're between 98th and 99th, and towards the end of the block. And so you could see it on 98th Street, on the street, swirling. And it bounced up again. And then it went on to, it just tore apart Oak Lawn. It tore apart the trailer park. It tore apart the high school. It tore apart many, many homes. Many people were hurt. Kids were killed at Oak Lawn High School, I believe, if I have my story right. But needless to say, that had a severe impact on me. We had no idea at the time of the destruction, because, thank God, we really didn't have any damage on our block. Some on the next block and some on the blocks over, but it kind of bounced us and crossed over Cicero Avenue and did more destruction, a lot of destruction over there. You know, I remember, you know, my dad was at work and they shut down Oak Lawn and at the city limit, which is like, so we're at 9900, 9800 South. And like by 87th and Cicero, that's the city limit, Chicago, you know, Oak Lawn, kind of Burbank. And so they closed that down because, you know, you couldn't get through here. And I remember my dad saying that he parked his car and he told him, my family is in there. Sorry. And he ran all the way from 87th all the way home. And, you know, he ran through all the destruction and all the trees and the houses and, you know, and I remember him running in the door and me and my sister and my mom were just sitting in the kitchen, no electricity, just sitting there. I believe we were having a sandwich or something. And my dad was just like, oh my God, he just fell to his knees and cried. He, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine the terror that he felt, but he later told us like what he saw. And then, you know, later on we knew. Okay, fast forward to, and I've had many experiences living in Indiana, in the country, with tornadoes. So let's just say I know the signs. So let's fast forward to yesterday. So yesterday, let me just say that the physical therapy seems to really be helping my mom. And she's been coming downstairs and, you know, able to, you know, walk enough to, you know, get to the chairlift backwards, the 4 steps. And, you know, she's doing pretty good. Anyway, better than before, which is a blessing. So she doesn't like to stay in bed all day. And to be honest with you, running up and down 14 stairs 50 times a day is, by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. So let's fast forward to yesterday. There was some, you know, there were warnings that there were going to be thunderstorms. Okay. And so, you know, I was doing laundry and cleaning and doing some things, and I sat down here for a minute to to do whatever. And, you know, an alert comes on the TV that there's a severe thunderstorm warning coming right in this direction. So, you know, just that fast, it like turned totally black. You know, I mean, literally, like, it was like the sun just got shut off, you know, with clouds. And I you know, I was like, wow. And so I went upstairs and I was like, holy cow. So I went outside for a minute to take a look. And here, the storms come either from the northwest, southwest, or straight west. Okay, so, you know, I'm probably pretty good down here, you know, in the basement, you know, in the farthest corner east. So, you know, and you could see the shelf cloud, you know, and you could see past the shelf cloud to the blue skies. But there was this ominous storm, and there was definitely a rotation and a little cone starting. You could see it. And I was like, holy shit. So I went in the house and I said, Mom, it looks really bad. Now, my mother is sitting in the living room in the furthest east part of the house, which is good, okay? However, there is a huge picture window right there where she's sitting, okay? Huge picture window and 2 windows on the side of it that open and close. And 2 more big windows on the other side of the room. So I can't get her down here. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? She cannot stay by that window because the pressure from the tornado, and knowing what I know and being in a few tornadoes, and, you know, especially in Indiana, one in particular, you know, I know that that pressure that from that storm just sucks the air out. And I mean, it's literally, I don't know if anybody's been in that situation, but it's literally hard to get air. And so I said, okay, we have to do something. You can't stay by that window with that storm. And so it was windy all day. And, you know, it was very dark. It wasn't raining yet. It was still very windy, even more windy than before. And the wind was coming. The trees were bending. And I said, oh, my God. And then the pea green. And then it turned green. And I was like, there it is. I'm like, Ma, you have to get away from that window. You cannot stay by that window. You know, something's getting ready to happen seriously bad. And she's like, I'm fine right here. No, you're not. Not by the picture window. You know, if there wasn't a picture window there, she's probably safest in the eastmost part of the house. Because if you look at the destruction of homes where a tornado hits a house head on, and they come from the west, if you notice, the roof is usually tore off. The west part of the house corners are gone, but the east part of the house is usually standing. And so, unless it completely tears apart the house. But this is brick, so chances are that it would rip off part of the roof, even though it's reinforced for tornadoes. But the west part of the house is the most, the northwest, southwest, and direct west is the most vulnerable part. The east part of the house is probably where she would be safest, but those windows is the issue. What am I supposed to do? She says. I said, listen, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wheel you over to the chairlift. You're gonna sit in the chairlift. I'm gonna put it halfway up. I'm gonna rope tie you. I had rope. I'm gonna rope tie you to the chair so that the pressure doesn't suck you out. And I'm gonna stay here and hold you. Hell no, she tells me. I'm gonna sit right here. I was like, you can't sit by this window. Meanwhile, it gets quiet. The wind stops, which is a sign that the cloud or the storm or whatever you want to call it is sucking all the air and sucking everything up, and it's going to gain traction and it's spinning. And I was like, holy shit. What am I? She will not move. She would not get out of that chair. What do you do? She would not. So I said, well, you want to sit here? She said, I want to watch the storm. What? I'm like, go right ahead. So I got the dogs, the bird. I put the bird in the cage. I tied the cage down here. I closed all the doors to the upstairs bedrooms. And I came down here with the dogs and hid underneath the table until it passed. Now, I guess there was never actually a tornado. It only rained for a second. It passed very quickly. The storm kind of passed us and went to the north side of the city and did a whole lot of damage with straight line winds. But we kind of dodged a bullet. But here's my point. What am I supposed to do? I mean, if something was to happen and she got sucked out of that window or whatever, which, I've seen happen driving on the road. Being a truck driver, I've seen truck drivers get sucked right out of windows of trucks. In a tornado. One guy in particular in Michigan, the wind turned his truck on the side. We were in the truck stop, and as he was coming up the ramp, turned his truck on the side. The windshield cracked open, and he got sucked right out of that truck. Now, he lived to tell the story, but he was never the same and never got in a truck again. So, I am fully aware of, the winds might not get you, but that pressure, that suction, that suck from, anyway, she would not move. And I was just beside myself. And I couldn't understand. She just wouldn't. And we have been in this situation before. When she was in better health, she would not come down here. And, better in mobility. She would not come downstairs. She was like, no, I just want to watch the storm in the window. Like, the worst thing you can do is sit by a window. So here's what I had to do. had to come down here and type out a little thing that said that I, Elaine Kardash, refuse to go downstairs or get away from the window in severe weather, not by any fault of mine. Because what if something was to happen to her? And they said, it's your fault because you didn't get your mother out of the front window. Why would you not get your mother out of the front window? Well, she refused. But if she's not around to tell the story, or if she lives through it and she doesn't remember, I'm done. So I was like, you got to sign this. Sign here. Sign that you refuse to get out of the window in the face of a potential tornado, severe weather, and straight line winds, which are in many cases just as bad as a tornado. Even though my daughter tried to help me and to get me out of harm's way, I decided to sit by the window. And she signed it. I was like, unbelievable. So, I mean, what do you do? I mean, what do you do when a person will not listen, will not hear you, and has been through a tornado previously, remembers it, and just wants to sit and watch it go by? I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and you know, and it, I mean, we have been through other storms, and yeah, and they, you know, it was a bad thunderstorm, you know, hail, wind, whatever. But this one, you know, there was that green pea soup thing going on. And, you know, still, she was like, oh, yeah, it looks bad, but I'm just going to sit here and watch it. What? All right, well, I'm going to watch it go because I just had to say that. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. I'm still like, unbelievable. I mean, why would you do something like that? I have no idea, but all right, well, y'all be safe out there. Today, we're supposed to have a break, and then those storms in Kansas and Oklahoma are coming this way for tomorrow. So y'all be safe, be careful, watch the sky, watch for that pea green soup. That's never a good sign. Bye-bye.